Paul DiPolito, head of partnerships at Buying Sandlot, but also founding member of the Sand City Soccer Club, which we want to talk about both sides of that today. Thank you for joining Buying Sandlot. For anyone that doesn't know, Paul is the head of partnerships at Buying Sandlot. You might have seen him at the summit. You might have inquired about potentially sponsoring the newsletter or the podcast. So maybe you have talked to him, but he also operates Sand City Soccer, which is the nonprofit arm up there in upstate New York. Am I correct on that?
Long Island,
Long Island, New York.
Upstate.
So talk about talk about how you got to Buying Sandlot, and then we'll go into Sand City Soccer in a little bit. How'd you and Kyle get connected?
So it's actually because of Sand City Soccer, to be honest with you. It's actually really funny. And first, thanks for having me on, guys. It's always fun to do this, and it's interesting that I'm not wearing branded merch the way you guys are right now to be on a call. But
you are wearing a mustache. I must point that out.
Yes, I am. So it's funny. I always buzz my face, right? And then I just play around. I go goof for my wife, and she's like, "This time, I actually like it." So you keep it.
Yes. Now, did you complete the compliance check with that mustache?
Yes,
Okay,
1,000%.
sure.
It's actually funny because I say that as a joke. If people like my friends like calls me Don Mattingly because I got like the hockey flow going on right now. He's like, "Yeah, a little Donnie Mattingly going." I'm like, "It's all right. We background check. Don't you worry." You know.
There you go.
But yeah, no. To add, so I found Buying Sandlot because of Sand City Soccer. So we decided to branch off from the traditional 40-year-old rec league that's in our town because we were coaches there for years, and it was a mess. It just wasn't working, and a lot of people were leaving and going to travel earlier than they wanted to, like disgruntledly going there. So they were always like, "Hey, if you need more volunteers," they always wanted help. So me and the three other coaches who are my co-founders, we put together a business plan, and I was speaking with the head of the traditional rec league, and about 3 or 4 calls of about hour and a half, 2 hours, and you can only hear, "That's not how we do things. We've been doing it like this for 40 years," so many times before you do your own thing. And I told my guys, I came back, I'm like, "We're starting our own league." And they looked at me like I was nuts. I said, "Give me a month. Let me go down a rabbit hole, see if this is feasible." I came back. I'm like, "We're starting our own league." And they're like, "All right, giddy up. Let's do it." So we started that. So to tie into Buying Sandlot is I was on Instagram one day trying to do research on youth sports, just from getting into it. And an ad popped up from Buying Sandlot. And I signed up for the newsletter. I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to be involved, at least I should know about how it operates on the back end, because I really got to figure this out, because we got to do 1.5 million things from now to fall 2026. This is back in July of 26. So we had July. Sorry, this is back in July of 25, and we knew we were going to launch in fall of 26. So do the newsletter, the whole nine. I get a bunch of them. At that time, it was just one a week. And I was getting them, and I started to get excited to get the next one. And then I think it went to twice a week while I was just a subscriber.
We were 3 by last summer, so you may have been earlier than that. We were 1 for a while, but I think we were 3 by last July. At least two.
Okay, yeah, you were at least 2.
Yeah.
Because I saw it, I was like, I didn't realize I was getting this again. And then I realized I actually learned some things through the newsletter. And then at that time, it was, follow Kyle on LinkedIn, follow Kyle on X. So I did. And I realized on LinkedIn, going back and forth, I'm like, I don't think he has a sales guy. And I've been in sales and business development and marketing and branding for 16 years plus now on the global side and licensing and small companies, whatever. So I just reached out to him on LinkedIn. And I was like, "Hey, I absolutely love what you're doing with Buying Sandlot. I think it's great. I've learned some stuff. This is why I follow you, XYZ. If you happen to ever need someone to help you grow revenue, let me know." And I just left it at that. And about less than 2 weeks later, he got back to me. He's like, "Hey, yeah."
Less than 2 weeks later? That's
well, he was, he's
record
down,
time.
He's down in, he's on vacation,
Sure.
And so integral. So that message turned into, I think we had 2 calls. We had 1 call. We got along really well. And we pretty much hammered out 90% on the first call. And second call, we wrapped it up. And I was on board by the end of July.
First question was, are you a Mets fan? I'm sure it was. And since you weren't a Mets fan, right? Because you're a Yankees fan.
Yankees, Giants, Rangers, baby. And obviously Knicks. Because,
The crappy Instagram ad you saw is like the gateway drug,
It
to
works.
buying Sandlot. And then next thing you know, you're 9 months later, you're moving tables at 10 p.m. at Switch House, trying to find sponsors a surge protector to plug in. Need power. You're from the gateway drug to needing power in a hurry.
Me, KP, and James doing that surge protector and the Wi-Fi thing that we had up. Oh my God. We're dangling it down the wall, making sure it was in the crevices. That was fun. But no, it has been, it's a year already, obviously. And it has been a heck of a ride and loving every second of it, honestly.
So I'll just chime in and say, everyone a lot of people who are listening to this have probably talked to you or heard from you, right? I assume. Certainly if they were at the event, they saw you, that we were at Next Up. So I like to call you our most of the time sales consultant. It's more than part-time, but you're not fully part-time, but you are our sales guy. And I think eventually, hopefully we'll be here full-time. But in in your spare time, you're doing this. And that's what, we're here to talk about today, but just so people understand, like, why are you interviewing sales guy Paul? So here we go. So that was good. That was good background. But I think I will say that I think what you're doing is really cool. And as we talked more about it a couple of months ago, and then as we were messaging before, I think there's a lot of learnings that people in the audience can have from what you're doing. And then also potentially opportunities for what you're doing with people and other people in our orbit. So be good to have you on. And you got a great logo. It's a 5 out of 10 out of 10 logo. 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Appreciate that. I think I know I'm not saying to put this in, but like the logos in general are pretty good. The Sand City Soccer logo is good. The Local Legends for-profit logo is amazing. And the Clutch Sports is just fire. It really is. It really is, honestly. I'll send you the logos later so you can check it out.
We talked earlier, he's got taglines, he's got drip campaigns. Let's start right there. What'd you do with the drip campaign? How'd you start this local league? You talked about, obviously, that you didn't love what was going on basically locally. So you said, hey, boys, we're starting our own. You pulled some people in. You did some business plan. They thought you were crazy. But talk about how, like, the drip campaign, how you made people kind of think about it and everything, the marketing behind it, and how it became so successful and how it led to fall of 2026 when you'll be starting this thing.
Yep. So the whole thing started with the mission. We needed to come up with the mission. And the thing was to bridge the gap between traditional rec that's outdated and is not wanting to modernize because they're just on autopilot, and travel. So that's what we're doing, bridging the gap. But the thing is, like, okay, we can make it affordable, fun, and engaging like travel, but they need to be able to develop, So we're bridging the gap between traditional rec and travel. So yeah, we can make it affordable, we can make it engaging and fun like traditional rec, but we need to give them development like travel. How do we do that while keeping it affordable? This is the whole piece of the puzzle. So I have a 9-person board of directors and a 6-person advisory board. Out of that 16, 15 people, the majority of the people are we are all local parents, but the majority of the people are former D1 soccer players, national champions, semi-pros, pro-level coaches, elite trainers, the whole nine. So what we're doing is we created and developed a comprehensive coaching and player development program. So we're going to have volunteer coaches, but the coaches are going through a boot camp. We're having a skill assessment. The last one's today, actually, for the kids, first grade and up, so we can create balanced teams. And the whole thing is we're going to spoon feed the coaches efficiency and ease of use to be able to, you can never have played soccer before in your entire life, but little Sally wants you to be your coach because you're the dad. And you're like, okay, but I don't really know. What am I going to do? 99% of traditional rec leagues do not support the coaches because they just don't have the infrastructure to do it. They don't have the right people to do it, and they don't have the time to get it done. I put together the team that can do it because that's the mission, right? So we're putting that together, and it's going to have a digital framework that they're going to get every single week for practice with links to videos, links to session animations. So they're going to know how to do everything. It's going to be broken down in blocks of 10, 20, whatever. And then also the main important part here is all the kids of the same age and gender are practicing together on the same day and time, on the same field in their respective teams. The reason why we're doing that is ease of carpooling for the community. community engagement, but also allowing the coaches to hold themselves accountable to the coaching and player development framework. And I mean, look, it's rec, right? So a lot of people aren't as hardcore as travel. Some parents are going to be in every practice, blah, blah, blah. But if like, little Timmy has like a little bit of like a knee, like feeling today, he's not going to go to practice. So that's fine. On the BIGA app, they'll be able to tell us if they're coming or not. Let's say out of a team of 8, you only have 5 coming or 4 coming. Instead of scrapping the practice, now you still come to practice, and those kids can get dispersed with the rest of the teams because everyone's learning the same thing on the same day. And we put the program together to start a season and end a season and see the arc of development throughout. So that is how this started. And to get into the drip campaign now, to answer the second part of your question.
Before you get to the drip campaign, I got a couple of questions about what you just said. So what was it like getting field availability for everybody on one day? Because I imagine you need a lot of space. It's not like you could carve up a single pitch. How did you do that?
That's where everyone has problems with either starting a league or growing a league, expanding a league. So there is a field down in our community called the Pit. It's called the Pit because when you're driving along, it looks like a cliff and it's carved out, and people live down there, and there's a park. So everyone calls it the Pit because it's a pit. And that's like
you can work on the branding. You can work on the branding for that.
Well, yeah, exactly. So that is where this traditional rec league in town plays.
Okay.
But I know we all knew from being coaches down there that they only use it on the pre-K fields, like for a certain small amount of time, and they only use it for pre-K through first grade. Okay. Now, the reason why they use it pre-K through first grade is because they don't use the proper field size for the age group. The pre-K fields you should be on from 4 years old through the year that you turn 8, 4v4, no goalie. They're in kindergarten, you go to a field that 4th graders play on in this league. Like, it was nuts. Like, when we went to 2nd grade, they were playing on a field that the size that like an 11-year-old would play on. I had 2nd graders like grabbing their sides because they're cramping from running across the field. And then also, because on top of that problem, the field is so big, you got 16 kids on a team. Like, they got 8 kids on the field, 9 kids on the field with a goalie. You shouldn't even have a goalie until you're 9 years old. You know what I mean? So, like, it was just a mess. So I knew all this going in. I wanted to get that field in the Pit. The thing was, their contract with the village, they had it from basically, 2 o'clock in the afternoon till midnight and the whole weekends because they're the only people down there. So they were able to do it. So we had to find out if they had an exclusive contract. They did not have an exclusive contract. So we went to the village. We had an open door meeting with the mayor, the secretary, and the village attorney, with me and my chair. And we told them, look, this is what we want to do. We just want to share the field usage. We know that they use it X, Y, Z. We need to use it 1, 2, 3. And they're like, great. You need to present this to us at a village board meeting, and then we will vote on it the following meeting. So I went there. We packed the place out with supporters, families, the whole nine. That village town board never saw so many people for a town meeting in their life. We had people in the vestibule outside. It was nuts. Everyone was there for Sand City Soccer. But in all seriousness, I spoke to them for about 10 minutes. I answered. They only had a couple of questions because I gave them so much information that they didn't really have any extra questions. They loved what we were doing. They were all on board. And the next board meeting, it was a unanimous decision across the board. So that's how we got the field.
So the village, the Pit, sounds like an M. Night Shyamalan movie we're talking about right now. But I guess, like, you talked about, nobody's using the field at so and so time, so they probably came and said, hey, someone's offering us some money to rent these fields out. Kind of an easy win.
So yeah, you would think, right? But the thing is, you don't have to pay the village to use the field because it's a village field. So we said, okay, fine.
Village. How are we using Village there in Long Island? Is that like a city in the rest of the United States?
So where I live, it's the village is an incorporated village, right? It's an incorporated
like a colony.
Yeah, basically, yeah. It was like founded in 1653 or something from the Quakers. I have no idea, but in all seriousness, so it's just a village board. They're the governing body of the village,
like a town. Right, like a town, a city, a county.
We have our own fire department.
Got it.
The whole nine. So it's not the county police and fire; it's the village police and fire. We have our own.
Total M. Night Shyamalan.
For anyone listening, like you're looking at a contract. For now, village will be referenced as city for the rest of this contract, for the rest of this episode, just in case anybody.
Yes, there you go.
About village.
That's perfectly
Capital
fine.
V village.
That's more than fine. Yes, exactly. So they have their own set of laws and rules and all this stuff. So yeah, it was basically, we knew that they weren't using it at such time. We knew we needed to use it, and I came to them with a full plan of not hindering the existing league. I took the times that I didn't try to get their good times. I took the times that they never use. That's all I did. I didn't try to mess it up. And on top of that, once we got approval, we said, look, one thing we need to do is the fields down there do need some repair. But, since there's going to be double the amount of kids down there now, we will donate $1,500 to the village to use whenever you want, on whatever you want, down in the pit for field maintenance and repair. So we're paying $1,500. The 40-year-old rec league is not paying a dime. But we volunteered to pay. They didn't ask us to pay.
Not to get too into minutia of this, but this is interesting. How did the existing how did they react to this? It's a volunteer-led rec league, so it's not like you're stepping on anyone's commercial toes. But how did they react to this? And then, have you pulled lots of kids over from there? Have you rug pulled the existing rec league?
Yeah, a lot of it. So they weren't happy about it, right? So the existing rec league doesn't really have a board the way I do. It's basically two older gentlemen who've been running it for a while, and they just basically do it, right? So obviously not happy about it because they knew what we were doing, because everything I did, I presented to them that I wanted to do for them, okay? I'm running the same playbook. I'm not changing it up because I know it's going to work from my just years of experience in business development stuff. And so they weren't happy about it. We haven't kicked the ball yet, Kyle. Our inaugural season kicks off this Labor Day. We're having our second skill assessment today. As of right now, we have 657 registered kids from the age of 3 years old through 8th grade, with the majority of that being 3 years old through 5th grade. For the most of it. So I would say the other rec league had more than that maybe to start, because every year it got less and less from them because of how they ran things and everyone was going to travel. So, I mean, it hurt, but people wanted something different.
In your town or village, overseen by the tribal council, who is it, a community-led travel program or is it a club program separately? And then do you also have some of those travel kids playing in this league? Like in baseball, in like Ripken, for example, the travel kids have to play in the rec league to be eligible for travel. In soccer, at least where we are, there is no overlap. It's either like once you graduate the travel, you're done. Are you pulling travel kids in, or are you still just like, it's actually maybe having more kids stay in rec than go to travel, but there's still two totally separate fields of players?
Great question. So the traditional rec league is a volunteer run thing. It's not run by the village by any stretch of the imagination. Okay. It's just a guy started it 40 years ago and that was it. We've taken from them, obviously, as I just said. We do have a travel league in town, right? And they were very nervous about us. We never marketed to those kids. That's not our thing. We were looking, this is bridging the gap from the traditional rec to the travel, right? Like, we're not saying we're travel. We did advertise that we don't travel. We're 100% local, because
who runs the travel team though? Is it the village, or is it
no,
a profit?
It's private. It's a 501c3. It's a 501c3, and they have a contract with a training program, coaching company that comes in and does their coaching and training for them. We are seeing travel kids come to us. Some kids are just using it as extra touches on the ball, because we don't have any rules or regulations that if you play for Sand City, you can't play anywhere else. Like, you're a youth athlete. Play in as many leagues as you can, get as many experiences as you can, grow as much as you can as an overall athlete. It's going to serve you better. That's what we're all about. Like, we tell our parents, like, oh, hey, like, when is the games and practices going to be? Because little Johnny has flag football and he also wants to do basketball. And I said, this is our practices. Don't take him out of other things to bring him to us. We want the kids to be multi-sport athletes. They are going to be the best athletes that play in college. They will be, because their mind gets put in a different position with different sports. Their bodies get put in a different position, different stress. You're training different parts of your body. It's the way to do it, which that's a whole other conversation we can have. But to go back to this, out of the travel league, the kids that we're probably pulling who are leaving travel to come to us would be the kids on like the C and D teams that want to grow and develop more, and the parents don't want to spend the thousands of dollars where they don't see their kids developing maybe that much, and also they might just not want to travel. So that's on the parents. But we're not advertising to those people. If they come to us, they come to us. And we were more than happy and looking forward to helping them develop.
This definitely touches on like all the professionalized rec, which we talk about on here, which is like squarely what you're doing. A well-run, quality rec. Okay.
Yeah. As a 501c3, no one in the organization is making a penny. No one.
Yeah, so you have the nonprofit arm, which is Sand City Soccer, and then you have the for-profit arm that is Local Legends, I believe it's called, you said?
Right. Yep.
And can you just talk about those, why you thought that you had to make the for-profit arm, how it helps the nonprofit arm, anything else, numbers and everything that you want to share? Go for it.
Sure. So there was never a for-profit idea ever when this league was starting. We started doing the preliminary budget with Sand City Soccer, the nonprofit. And once we got to merch and concessions, it flipped the table, because I looked at my treasurer and I was like, we're not going to be able to sustain if we need to buy the T-shirts, the hats, and all this other stuff, and concessions or whatever like that. So that's where the for-profit arm came. I went back to my 3 other co-founders of the nonprofit Sand City, and I said, look, what do you think about forming a business, an LLC, and like fronting the merch and the concessions? And we put together an agreement with the league. So just so you know, we are fully transparent. Everything's on the up and up. We're going to be having public quarterly board meetings for the nonprofit, so the community can tell us what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, their ideas, all this stuff. Also, another reason that we're doing all this truly transparent is because of the 2. We never want anyone to think that we're doing things for the wrong reason, because that's not what it's about. So the for-profit Local Legends was created because when we ran the budget line on the nonprofit Sand City Soccer, the merchant concessions would have bankrupted Sand City Soccer. We wouldn't have been able to get off the ground with everything else. So the thing is, we have a 9-person board of directors. Us 4 are on it. The reason why we have 9 is because we have to be outvoted. So we had to get 5 other people. We can't be in power if we're running an agreement. It's wrong. It's shady. It's gray. It's disgusting.
So if the for-profit strikes an agreement with the nonprofit and it's totally in favor of the for-profit, the 5 other people can outvote you. And just
Yes,
say, nope,
that's the
like
whole
this isn't
point.
good for the league.
Yeah. So we had to literally get up in front of the remaining 5 directors and pitch Local Legends being the merch and concessions vendor. I had to give them a spec on on 2 other companies that can do it at 2 different price points, and tell them what we would do and blah, blah, blah. So the thing was, we also said that we came to an agreement. The treasurer came back to me and wanted a higher percentage, and we agreed to it. Anything that the for-profit does for soccer, Sand City Soccer nonprofit will get 20% gross revenue off the top. They're the first line item. So if we run a camp next summer for a couple of weeks and we bring in $200,000 gross revenue, Sand City Soccer nonprofit's getting 40 grand right off the top. So the whole point of the for-profit, when it started even with the merch and the concessions, is to make sure that the nonprofit is financially stable.
Awesome. So that, so it sounds like the merchant concessions, that's a big upfront cost, if I'm reading between the lines. So this is why you couldn't do it under the nonprofit.
Correct.
Money still has to come from somewhere, though. So for the for-profit, is that just a matter of you guys funding it?
Yes.
And then if so, how come, why not do that through the nonprofit? Like, could you have guys just donated to the nonprofit and say, okay, well, we'll kickstart this as a donation? I guess it makes more sense to do it as a for-profit. If you're going to put money out in the long term, you might get return on that money.
Yeah. So the big thing is there, they get their 20%. The cost is honestly 60%. And then we get 20% back. We're making the same as the nonprofit.
Got
right?
it. Okay.
On our side. In regards to your other question, why not just do the nonprofit in general? You could, but let's say it didn't.
But the for-profit makes it worth taking the risk. Hey, we can front the money for concessions and merch, but at least we have a fighting chance to get our money back. And yep.
The problem with that is we can still give them the money, right? But the problem is now they need to staff it, and no one's getting paid. So now I can go out and get 3 high school kids to staff a concessions and a merchandise stand, pay them $15, $16, $17 an hour to sell the shirts and the hats and blah, 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 and make it easily, make it more efficient and get done. Where once you get in, we have a lot of volunteers. So because we changed it, I have 84 volunteer coaches that signed up. The other traditional rec league was begging for people and could barely get 30 because there was no support. And most rec leagues are having that issue. But also we're having field volunteers. We're having people help set up the fields and break down the fields and stuff like that. So we're able to front the money, pay people if we need to, but we'll probably have a couple of people to start from the volunteer side. But we're still fronting the money, and we're taking care of the logistics and the shipping and the delivery and all that stuff for them.
What else are you guys doing to make money? You said merch and concessions, but what are some other things on the for-profit side to help out?
On the for-profit side to help out?
Yeah.
Anything that we do. So when we run a pop-up 3v3 tournament, 4v4 tournaments will be starting over in January. If it's soccer, they get 20% off the top. Anything we do is 20% off the top for soccer. If I run a camp, same thing, which we'll run a camp next year. Also, let's say for argument's sake, if we ever want to do a lacrosse tournament, we have a great local lacrosse league. There's not a need for another local lacrosse league in our town. Same thing with baseball, same thing with basketball. They're fantastic, right? But I can work with them and say, hey, look, I'm going to run a pop-up 3v3 tournament, or I'm going to run a lacrosse camp. Give me some staff. Give me some help here. Let's structure this together as a team, and you get 20% off the top. The Local Legends is put in place that anyone we work with is going to be more financially stable because of us, because we're just donating the money back. And a lot of people don't do that.
How does that? How do you draw the line between, like, let's say Local Legends grows separately, your New York does something in Ohio, right?
It has to be local. It has to be local. So anything I do in my town, the soccer league will get if I'm doing soccer. Anything I do in my town for lacrosse, the local lacrosse league will get. If I do a 3v3, a lacrosse tournament out in Montauk, that's us.
Separate. Got it. Yep. That's what I was wondering.
Again, I have no problem giving 20% off the top to the Montauk lacrosse league.
They don't need it. They don't need it.
No, they don't. Yeah. They know. Montauk's gotten bougie. It wasn't like that when I was a kid. It's become an extension of the Hamptons. But a little bouge is good. I have a wine fridge. A little wine fridge. Came with the house, though. I didn't buy that. Came with the house. But it's all about working. Like, if I'm in Ohio, if I'm in Canton, Ohio, and we're working, if I'm doing a pop-up or a summer like soccer camp, the Canton Rec League is going to get 20%. That's what it's about.
So there's a lot from an operations standpoint. It's a lot all at once. You're starting the new league, 650 kids, like a real number, right? Lots of teams. So that's a lot of work and operations. And then you have the for-profit side where you're doing concessions and merch, not super complicated businesses, but upfront expense, hiring people, some infrastructure, all that stuff. So what are some of the operational challenges, right? Like, so you don't spread yourself too thin, right? And then can you take, I think for this audience and just my brain naturally goes to, on the Local Legends side, we'll come back. I want to come back to the professionalized rec and participation because I think that's really interesting. But on the Local Legends side, can you take these learnings in a local town and say, we cracked the nut. Like, we figured out how to sell merch the parents want at a profit. We figured out concessions, which I've been writing about for probably since you first found Buying Sandlot, is like, how do you scale that? It's so hard because it's so fragmented. If you get that to work, can you begin going to other local leagues and saying, hey, you're a nonprofit, but we can actually come in and help you guys generate some revenue and donate 20% of what we make and subsidize some of your participation. And why not sponsorship as part of that? Sponsorship, I think, is part of the nonprofit side. So a lot of questions there. Start wherever you want.
No, you're good. So in regards to logistics, real quick, it is a lot. I have a 15, 16 person team, number one, and everyone is passionate and they do what they got to do. We have great communication. So that gets done pretty easily. It does. I have night calls almost every night with different people. Because now it's crunch time, right? So we're getting things done. But even on the local legend side of it, right? If we run a camp, there are people in the nonprofit soccer league with their background that can help us. So we can hire them as a 1099 to help us set it up. We already have that built in. It's the same thing with the lacrosse league, right? If I want to run a 3v3, if you're giving me your time on the for-profit side, you're going to be compensated for it. It's going to be built into registration, all those other things, the way a business works to bring it back down. In regards to concessions, yes, I think you have to be smart about it because you can go nuts, right? Because now it's supply and demand, oversupplying, things spoil, they go bad. Everything we're doing is prepackaged, right? We're doing all prepackaged stuff so we don't get spoils, whatever like that. We're only going to be doing a couple of things.
Are you making it in-house or are you bringing
No. That is going to be like a Costco buy, things of that nature.
You got it. Okay.
That's what we need for that week. But the whole point, the reason why all of this works, the nonprofit and the for-profit side, is because you're immersing yourself in the community in general, from the kid parent side and from the local business side. This is the key. You have to remember, like the big companies that are coming in and buying up all these things, which is fine. They could do whatever they want to do. They will be so much more profitable and looked at in a more positive light if they allow the leagues to run, market, things of that nature from a local community standpoint. If they allowed it to go down to the micro with the overall macro umbrella of strategy, that's fine. But then bring it down to your people on the ground in the micro and let them fill in the, line by line details of what needs to happen in, Susquehanna, whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's the most important part. And so the community here is huge because to offset, then what you do is we have a local cookie shop, right? We have a local bagel store. We have a local this, that. Hey, we have Sunday morning session from 9 to 1. The people that make the egg sandwiches or the bagels, come down, set up a table. Anything you sell, we get $1. Now we take the $1 and we would literally split that. I know I only need to give them 20%, but I would split that 50 cents to the nonprofit, right? Because I'm not laying out any money for that. So I'm fine with splitting that $1 per bagel or per cookie or whatever there. So I think that is a big part that people don't do is they don't bring in the local community business people that the mom and pop at the ice cream place, yeah, they can show up with some tubs of ice cream or ices and sell them.
It's amazing. It's Rita's water ice here. It's amazing to me. There's not a Rita's water ice at every field. Occasionally we'll get a truck, a shaved ice truck come through, but it's amazing to me. They don't just show up. They just print money.
So that's the thing. Like really, like I think they need to go down to the micro level on the concession side. Lay out some things you want to have. If you want to have hot dogs or burgers, that's a different thing. That's a you thing. You got to have certain permits and all that other stuff. But if you involve the local community and the small business, they will be looked at as heroes instead of people that are just trying to like make people spend more money. Yeah. In regards to your sponsorship, the reason why sponsorship needs to be on the nonprofit side is because, again, local level we're talking here. We're not talking about Nike. We're not talking about Under Armour. We're not talking about Gatorade or any of those things. Those are great. You can get them, take the money and run, do it. They have enough money to send it out. That's fine. But when you work with La Porta Pizzeria, James Street Market, blah, 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 local hardware store, if you're on the for-profit side, there's no tax benefit for them. There's no write-off at all. So we've raised over $50,000 to $60,000 in local business sponsorships. I don't have one national or regional sponsor at all. I don't. My uniform sponsors, we went back to the old ones. They look like legit Premier League jerseys. You saw the pictures of them. We got our logo here. And then we literally have Laporta, and every single team gets a different full uniform, top and bottom. And so that uniform sponsorship, plus they get field signage, they get call outs, they get social media call outs, social media collaborations, the whole nine. They're on the field every single week. All of those are minimum $2,500. And I have over 15 of them, 14 or 15 of them right now. We also had a launch party that most of these people already gave sponsorships to for the launch party to help us pay for, equipment and all that other stuff. Equipment costs us over $10,000 to start the league, where a traditional rec league doesn't have equipment. They give you a couple of balls, and the coaches have to get the cones and all those other things. We have everything for everybody. So we're making it as easy as possible, but it's a big investment. But when you include the community, you can make anything happen. You really can. It's amazing.
So you just hit on. So are the teams? They're named after the sponsor?
No, the kids are going to make up their own names.
Got it. Okay. All right. Kyle knew where I was going. My naming rights question.
No. So I did offer naming rights for the league itself. Okay, I did offer it. It was a $10,000 package. They've got a whole slew of things, right? They would be on every jersey, every uniform. It would be on the side or both, or we would figure out a spot there. It would be on the signage, anything. If we were talking about this right now, and you put the Sand City Soccer logo up, it would say presented by whatever. No one bought on it yet. I think it's because it's our first year. They want to see how it's going, but there is that opportunity.
Yep. Just like the summit, right? You're selling our summit, right? Same thing. First year, didn't get a full naming rights. Hopefully, yeah. You touched on something really interesting right there. And we wrote this in the newsletter a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about sponsorship and naming rights, and said to date, most sponsorships exist as charitable contributions. And you just nailed it, because at a minimum, that business, I think they will get an ROI, especially the way you're doing it, right? Like, you are a super passionate, motivated local self-starter who that business is set up to succeed with. Again, people can see the jerseys right now if they're watching this, and you could see why it's worth it, right? They're cool. Like, it elevates the brand. I would say in 95%, 90%, 80%, whatever, of local rec leagues, it's not like that, right? It's someone who's volunteered because they felt like they had to, and they're passionate about it, but this is your thing, right? So I wrote, most of these sponsorships aren't seeing an ROI because they're charitable deductions. And at least Laporta Pizza, if they spend $1,000, they can write it off as a charitable deduction. They'll get some of the money back. If it makes money, great. If not, they did right by the community. And that's fine. I think that works. On the whole, though, it requires people like you in every single community to make this work. So do you think, is that model replicable for other local communities, especially where they don't have, the driving, the CEO hat that you have in this nonprofit or for-profit? And is there an opportunity then for the for-profit to work with other leagues? And then maybe this is where you can pull in those regional or national advertisers, because you could say, you know what, you guys are just scratching the surface. You're getting $500 charitable deductions from the pizza place. They're not getting their bang for the buck. You're not creating cool jerseys for them. It's simply charity. We can come in, give you a more premium sponsor, send meaningful money back to you guys. And now it's a business service and I get 20%. I don't know. I always feel like the reason why sponsorship isn't more huge is because everyone's kind of looking at it through that charitable deduction, local business angle, which can work when they have a Paul in their town. But if they don't have a Paul, what's the solve for that? And can local legends help if that expands its services elsewhere?
So in all honesty, I feel like most local rec leagues, and I agree with everything that you're saying, I think it happens because they're just on autopilot and they don't really have the turnover on the board, where a lot of young blood isn't on yet.
Yeah.
We couldn't even get them to hear us, let alone put us on their board. You know what I mean? They weren't about, because then they get nervous that you're going to take over and kick them out, all this other stuff, because they've been doing it for so long. But, when things start to just become mundane over and over again, that's the problem. So when you have someone like myself and my entire team, also, people are afraid to sell. The average person doesn't sell. They're afraid to go into somewhere and be like, oh, hi, we have this league. Would you give us $500?
Not Paul.
No,
Not
Paul. No,
Paul.
skin like a rhino, baby.
So I mean, they don't have a Paul,
Yeah.
And I wasn't trying to knock the local volunteer, by the way. They're just overwhelmed. They come in like, it's like, oh, now I got to go sell ads to 5 different places. For you, it's your thing. And also you're a sales guy. So like this comes very naturally to you. But how can, what can other leagues do? And can local legends not only be concessions and merch, but can you go to that team in Montauk and say, let me sell Gucci for you. Right.
Yeah.
But let me sell Audi.
Yeah. The problem is they don't, to your point, they don't have a Paul, right? They need to have a position on the board that is revenue based. Everyone, and I talk about it on my business development, youth sports business development page on Instagram all the time. And I say, you need to have a person. Revenue isn't registration. It's not what it is. Registration should keep the lights on. That's it. It shouldn't pay for stuff. That's your sponsorships. That's this, that's that. And you need to have different things like run a fundraiser, do sponsorships. You have so many things. Run a camp, run a clinic, sell merch, like all
this
these
is
things.
happening in college. You're describing this is happening in college now. All of a sudden, now these teams need to come up $40 million, and they're functioning like businesses. Same concept is what you're describing here.
Exactly. So, in my opinion, they need to make a role for that person, and the key is don't give it to someone who's already on the board if that's not their wheelhouse. Don't just make Jerry the revenue guy. If Jerry doesn't do anything with revenue in his real life, that doesn't make any sense. You need to have a sponsorship, partnership, revenue growth person on the board. And, I'm telling you, make sure that it's a person that has their kid in the league.
Kyle, what do we call this role? We've called it. We got a name for it. We talked about it. Prior pod. The role. The monetizer.
The monetizer, the superhero.
It's not just pro and college. Every level of sports needs the monetizer.
It's true. Look, at the end of the day, one thing I learned about when I got into sales 16 years ago, at the end of the day, everything in life is sales. Everything. Every business is sales. It doesn't matter what the business is, right? At the end of the day, look at Buying Sandlot. It's not sales. It's a media organization for the business side of youth sports, which we crush multiple times a week, right? But unless you have someone bringing in revenue, Buying Sandlot doesn't exist. It doesn't.
Paul talking his own book. I love it.
No, because you did it. You did it before I came on. But it's true.
Yeah,
Every organization is a sales organization. The reason why anyone eats and lives is because revenue is coming in. It's just the way of the world. And then it's the same thing with a local youth rec league. Just because it's volunteer and 501c3 nonprofit doesn't mean that let's just rely on registration. Hope it's not a light spring. Because if you're doing that, if it's a light spring, you're done.
Yeah. That's Paul at Buying Sandlot. If anyone is interested in sponsoring the podcast or the newsletter, you can get him there.
Or owning the Sand City Soccer League. Presenting sponsor of Sand City Soccer.
Yeah, seriously. Right. Do we get 20% off the top if that comes through the Buying Sandlot email? We'll talk about that offline.
What's our cut? 0.25 for every deal. That's it.
What's Paul, what's next? Obviously, the league starts in fall of 2026, but anything coming down the pipe? What's next? Anything you can enlighten people on?
So we have the league coming down. Labor Day weekend, we're launching. We're going for Labor Day weekend through the weekend before Thanksgiving, so through November 22nd. It's 12 weeks, but it's a 10-game season. So we're having 12 practices with the entire practice framework that I mentioned before. We have something called Cal Harbor Day down in our village. It's a big race. They have 1 day is the race, 1 day is at the big parade. So Sand City Soccer is going to be walking down Main Street, 600 plus deep with those amazing uniforms. So we're taking off that weekend because also logistics with traffic is a nightmare. And then since Halloween is on a Saturday,
one parade shuts the village down.
Oh yeah, people come from all over town. There's people from like 10 towns that come. It's crazy. It's
You're doing a witch hunt for Halloween, like an actual witch hunt?
We do have one traffic light in town. We have one traffic light in the village. There's one traffic light.
Right. For the opening match, they're all going to ceremoniously pull up the well to give the town its water.
But what's great, honestly, so that's that weekend, and then we have Halloween is a Saturday, so we're giving them off that weekend also. But besides that, we have Local Legends is kicking off with the soccer league in regards to merch and concessions. And then that's really going to be kicking off with a little bit more lifestyle merch, like Local Legend merch itself before the end of the year. And then January starts the 4v4, 3v3 pop-up indoor soccer tournaments. And then me personally, like, look, I mean, I never thought I would fall like in love with passion of youth sports. My kid decided to want to play soccer. I never played soccer a day in my life. Okay. I was a baseball, lacrosse wrestler. It's what I did. I got into soccer when I was in college because a bunch of my friends played on the team, and I got into Premier League and all that other stuff. And it's amazing. I absolutely love soccer. I love it. I think it's one of the best sports, if not the best sport in the world. I also do really love hockey, but that's where Kyle and I differ too. He's Flyers, I'm Rangers. But I fell in love with it. Youth sports has become my life now, and I am a business sales development consultant. That's how I found Kyle, and Buying Sandlot. So I'm doing that personally with my business, and I've pivoted from. I'm still doing general sales training and sales business development because sales is sales, but I'm really pivoting hard to the youth sports industry. So like anyone who wants to start a league or who's already involved in a league that wants to make it better, a league, a team, a club, an academy, facility, that nature, and also all the businesses that support the teams, the leagues on the youth sports side, right? The youth sports companies that support the leagues, the teams, and all that other stuff. That's where I'm driving my sales and business development and marketing and branding consulting on a professional side. That's where I'm driving it now.
So we should definitely have you back and do this again after the end of the season to hear how it went. Because I think
I love that.
I think, when I hear you, like, my bottom line on this is like, there are so many of these like better run rec, again, professionalized rec, we call it. We should have you on that panel this year, if this goes well.
I would love that. Thank you. As long as it goes well. Yeah.
If all the kids don't quit.
Well. I'll give you a call, Kyle. I'm ready for the panel. Kyle.
The parents declare you a witch. Right? You're the witch.
If the village doesn't shut down.
It's like Widow's Bay.
I heard that's a good show, by the way. I haven't watched it
yet. I haven't touched it yet either.
But seriously, we should have you back and talk about what you learned, because I do think this model could work for all those people that are in that messy middle. Doesn't seem to work.
Well, that's the thing. We're literally filling the gap. The gap is the middle. And honestly, I'm still in it, right? Like, I'm still living it day by day. But we've literally started this league from scratch. Like, I've done I know things legally about 501c3s you can't do. What's a kickback law? What's this? What's that? This is a gray flag. This is a green flag. This is a red flag. Just how to structure it, how to organize it, from marketing, branding, the whole nine. I just took my personal, my professional expertise and then learned a bunch of other stuff I never had any idea about, and threw myself baptism by fire in a really hot pan. And have just been going through it day by day for over a year now. So it's ingrained. I live it. It's part of who I am at this point. And I love it. It's nuts, but I love it.
Well, it sounds awesome, man, and congratulations on all the
thank you.
On all the success of it, and good luck with the league in the fall of 2026. My people and Kyle's people will be watching, and maybe we'll do the pit presented by Buying Sandlot.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It's a good idea.
I know a guy. I think it's Paul at BuyingSandlot.com.
Paul at BuyingSandlot.com for all your partnership needs.